Joining us here this evening, we are going to get our monthly board meeting started. So I could ask everyone to please take their seats. Dr. Nickel, would you mind joining us at the table? Dr. Nickel, calling Dr. Nickel. Scott. I gave you 4 chances, sorry. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for the March 26th Board of Education monthly meeting. I would ask everyone at this time, we will start this meeting at 6:02, and I would ask everyone at this time to stand for the national anthem. Thank you very much. Moving on to special recognition, we will start with the Ellington High School State Champions for Winter 2025. Dr. Nickel?
Yes, one of the monthly recognitions that we do is to try and find all the amazing accomplishments that our students do, whether they're student athletes, whether they participate in drama club, whether they have great academic achievements, whether they sing, they dance, whatever it is they may do. And also, we don't limit that recognition to just students. We also recognize employees that do remarkable things. And so this is the end of the winter season, and we have multiple state champions, and we thought it would be a lot of fun to bring swimming, track and field, and basketball together to honor their amazing achievements. So at this time, I'd ask for our athletic director, Anderson Rollins, to come on up to the mic.
Thank you, Scott. Good evening. First off, I want to say thank you. And we want to start off by recognizing Cody Lonsberry. He is a swimmer, state champion in the 200 and in the 500. Cody. Cody is not with us tonight. He is attending the All-State Banquet, and so he will be recognized in April. But we wanted to also make sure that we recognize his great achievement and his accomplishment. We have a very small swim team, but they are very mighty, and they do a wonderful job. And so we wanted to make sure that he gets that. Next up, I would like to bring up Coach Z, and he will tell you all about our wonderful high jumper, Jenna.
Thanks for having me, everyone. Got it good. So this year, pretty historic in Ellington track and field program history. Jenna Luoma, she was a state open champion in the high jump. Now how it works for track, very similar to swimming. And like other sports, there's 4 different classes amongst the state based on the size of the school. So Ellington, we're a Class M school. Jenna finished, she was runner-up in the high jump at that meet. So she qualified for the state open, which they take the best of the best amongst all 4 classes, all the teams in the state. So Jenna was the winner of high jump at the state open this year. So that's every school in the state. Almost every single one has a program. She was the first individual or team state open champion for the girls in program history. That's either indoor track or outdoor track. Now we've had a lot of great athletes come through the program, some that have, they've been all state athletes, they've made New Englands, they've made nationals, a lot of great accolades. She's the first one to ever win an event at the state open. And even from boys and girls, that we haven't had a boy win something for the state open in 21 years. So it was a really historic moment. She's only a sophomore. There were, I think, 99 participants at the class meet. They narrowed it down to 18 at the state open, and then she was the best of the best. Went on to New England's, where she jumped really well, competed at nationals 2 weeks ago, and we're excited for the spring for her.
Congratulations.
And so, Coach, could I just,
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Coach, I just wanted to add, so I was talking to Jenna before, I don't know a lot about high jumping, and so I didn't know whether 5 feet 2 inches was very high, and she wants to get up to 5'8" by senior year, she was telling me, but she said, and I didn't know this either, which is pretty cool, so she hit the 5 foot 2 inch on the first jump, right, and the other person she was competing against, they didn't get it to the third jump, so if you get it early on, that's a benefit, so it places more priority on the first jump. And then they went to 5 feet 4 inches. And that's something that Jenna has accomplished in the past, but she didn't do it quite on this one. So what we hope to see is when she's a senior, she comes back here and she has gotten to 5 feet 8 inches. That's what the expectation is, Jenna. Yep. So yeah, keep working at it, and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Just a little plug, we also have Ellington Invitational, April 26th. It's a great, it's a 4th year running it. Some of you have been there before. We have over 30 schools come from across the state. We have a meet, there's over 1,000 kids. It's a great, for the town. We put on a lot of, if you've never been to a track meet before, it's a good one to come to, so.
Just
April
a quick
26th.
question. How tall is Jenna? Is she jumping over
Yeah,
her
so-
height?
5'5". So yeah, she jumped 5'4" this year. I tell her that you're not a good high
Super
jumper
impressive.
until you jump your height. But most of the girls she was jumping against are probably 5'6", 5'8", 5'10", like the shortest one there.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you again, Coach and Jenna. Just real quick, if you don't know Jenna, Jenna's not only an amazing athlete, but an even better person. Every single time when you walk through the hallway, she's always saying hello. She's always making sure she's helping somebody out. You probably see her running around the community. She's always got 1 or 2 buddies with her, and she's just training with them. Rebecca knows she's just an amazing person. And so it's also great to see that such an amazing person is accomplishing such great feats. And last but not least, our last champion is our boys basketball team with Coach Bob Freitas. Come on up, please. If the team can come up also.
First of all, I want to thank the Board of Education for allowing us to come here. There's a lot of people to thank, the superintendent of schools, Mr. Nichols, our principal, all the principals at the high school, the athletic director, Anderson Rollins, the parents, the students. There's a lot of people to thank in the town. My coaching staff, Mike Galligan, my manager. What we accomplished this year, I don't know if I can, as a team, we can duplicate it, but it was special. The kids that are behind me are a special group of kids who, like Reese, who's a freshman, hasn't yet lost a game. So he's undefeated on his first year. So it was a great accomplishment for them, for the town, for the school system. And I want to thank the Board of Ed for 7 years ago giving me an opportunity to coach in Ellington, because it was hard work that got us there, and we finally got to our goal, and we're not done yet. Hopefully we can get a few more. But it has been a tremendous ride, and the only way we get there is with great kids and great support from the board, our superintendent, the principals, and the athletic director, because everyone does have a part in everything that we do, the gym, everything that we do. People kind of don't see behind the scenes what people do, but hard work does pay off, and we're very young, and hopefully we'll get there again. And I just wish the seniors that are leaving the best, because they're leaving and nobody can take it from them. A nice state championship, so it was nice to see that Ellington is on the map and will be on the map for a while. So we want to say thank you. I did forget, as normal coaches do forget, 2 people were honored All-State, Jack Curtis and Reese Nickel, as a freshman, were both All-State.
I just want to say congratulations and thank you. This is just a small sample size of the amazing coaches that we have here at Ellington. He's very humble. The amount of hours, the amount of work, the amount of nights, the amount of sacrifice that all of our coaches put in, you don't understand. When we talk about behind the scenes effort, behind the scenes work, everything that goes into it, and they do it for the kids. They're taking times away from their families, from their lives, from everything, and they do it for the kids. And so when we really say we are trying to bring in, we have the best coaches here, I can stand here and I can tell that to you. And this is just a small sample size of what we do have here in Ellington, because they care so much about our kids, they care so much about the community, and they put the hard work in. So I can't thank you all enough for your support as you continue to give and do everything that we can do so we can continue to have a strong and athletic program that we're all proud of. So thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you, congratulations.
Congrats.
You boys don't have to stay for the whole meeting, you can scoot out. The board chair, yes, board chair says,
dismissed.
teammates, coaches, head out when you're ready. Thank you. Anderson, you have to stay. Just kidding, just kidding. The next special recognition is Board Appreciation Month. Drop the bass performance. We're moving in and moving out here. It doesn't even have Mr. Hellman in here.
Yeah, it says thank you, Chief Hellman and Chef Hellman and Culinary Services.
I don't have that on mine. I don't know why. Sorry. Before we drop the bass, would you mind if we had the culinaries? I didn't have it on, sorry, I didn't have it on my agenda for some reason.
We can do however you like to do it.
Okay. Mr. Hellman, do you want to come up first, please? Sorry. Oh, see, I had an old agenda. Sorry, I had an old agenda. Thank thank you. We wanted to thank you very much for your support of the board and for the delicious treats today. My daughter's standing here giggling right now. You guys did a great job. We appreciated you being here, and we appreciate your support. And as always, Mr. Hellman, thank you so much for the incredible job that you do for us. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Everything was delicious. Yeah, it was a great surprise. Thank you so much.
So, can we just have you girls introduce yourselves, please? You can do this. I know you can. And just tell us what grade you're in.
My name is Caitlin Callahan, and I am in 11th grade.
Thank you.
My name is Chelsea Zalkman, and I'm in 11th grade.
Thank you.
My name is Rachel Tucker, and I'm in 12th grade.
Thank you.
My name is Haley Gilman. I'm a junior.
Thank you.
My name is Lizzie Zen, and I'm a junior.
Thank you.
My name is Elise Catlett. I'm a senior.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to mention, these students are part of the artisanal baking confections class. This class has been in existence now for 3 years. We've been doing these pop-up bakeries now for 3 years. And just as a one note, Rachel was with us a couple of years ago when she was a freshman, and we did board appreciation. So she was there with 2 other seniors at that time, and another freshman. So we appreciate you guys, and thank you very much for the opportunities that you give us with regard to the finances that make that class happen. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next performance is Drop the Bass. Sorry about that. Thank you.
So thank you for having us. We love coming and performing for the board. And I just want to let you know we have a couple of basses tonight. One who's at a lacrosse thing and one who's it's a performance in Hartford. So I'm going to try to sing bass tonight. I don't have some of these low notes that Logan does.
So you did drop the bass.
Yeah, you did. That's good. I see what you did there. But we do appreciate you having us. The theme tonight, what was the theme that we heard? It was kind of a beach theme or something tonight?
Beach theme, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to sing Sitting on the Dock of the Bay for you.
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Love that.
That worked
Thank
out.
you.
So,
Let's
okay.
do it.
So we hope you enjoy this. And again, thank you so much for having us. We love singing for you. So here we go. Where's the bass?
I'm sitting in the morning sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in. Then I'll watch them roll away again. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide go away. Sitting on the dock of the bay. Wasting time. Left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I have nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide go away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Looks like nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. I can't do it. So I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting on the dock of the bay. I'm sitting here resting my bones.
That was awesome. Great job. Great job. Thank you so much. Well, we could just sit here and listen to that tonight. Let's forget the rest of the agenda.
Okay.
Second. Moving on to the board chair report. There's a couple items that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. As you know, we are still in the budget process as we move forward. And the first of I lost it here. The first of our budget referendums or discussions will be on April, I do not have it here, April 11th, I believe. Sorry, I don't have it on my calendar. I'll have to get back to it. But there's one on the 11th and then there's one on the 15th. Will be the two deliberation dates. And if more is needed, I would be an assumption that those would be brought forward by the Board of Finance, but any and all members are welcome to attend. The second item is that I did submit testimony today to PURA regarding Eversource Gas, who is looking to increase their rates by 43% as of November 1st, 2025, which would be a $54,919.60 increase for the Board of Education. So I did submit testimony that I hadn't talked to board members, but put forth that that would be very detrimental, in my personal opinion, to the Board of Education, as well as to taxpayers and ratepayers in the state. The third item is, it is Board Appreciation Month, if nobody noticed, but I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone here for all the time and effort and commitment that you give to the students of this district, to this community. It's important beyond belief what we do here and what you do here. Your contributions are something that moves this town and this district forward, and it builds a legacy. Look at what's going on at Windermere right now. That was because of a lot of the members sitting here at this table. And for those who are not, they can drive by and see the difference. We can see it in our students, music, athletics, academics. You are all a part of that, and you should be proud of what you do. And I personally want to thank you.
Thank you for all your work,
Oh,
for leading us.
thanks, Marcia. I appreciate
I would
that.
agree. Corralling us around and
Thank
moving
you.
forward.
Thank you.
Just like today.
Thank you.
Today, thank you.
Of course, I appreciate that. Citizens and staff forum, Tracy, no one, okay. The consent agenda, there is an amendment to the corrected date, which is February 26th, and that was corrected already. So were there any other changes or amendments to the consent agenda? Hearing none, the agenda stands. Report discussion items, special reports. No special reports this evening. Wow, this is a fantastic board appreciation.
Good start.
I'm sorry. Careful, we're not there yet.
Yeah, Scott.
Regular board committee reports, policy.
Policy, we just had, we just had a meeting before this meeting at 5 o'clock, and I would like to make a motion to add a letter F motion for the first read to approve revisions to policy 5420, non-resident attendance. That's first, to add that. So if I could have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion of adding action item F? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
And then therefore we will probably have discussion at that time.
Okay. Operations Committee is next.
Operations will be meeting on April 11th.
Oh, on the 11th, not the 8th.
It is the 8th,
It's the 8th.
yes.
Okay. And curriculum will be meeting April 1st.
Correct.
Is Dr. Young online or no? No, okay. Okay. Finance, Steve is not with us. I was not at that meeting. Maybe, do you want to, Alicia, or do you want to just wait till your financial report? It's pretty much
Wait till
that.
the financial report.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Thank you. Communications, Jen, did you have anything you wanted to?
No, we did not meet this month, but the next newsletter is getting ready to come out shortly.
Excellent.
And I appreciate everybody for your photos.
Oh, I have some photos to get to, sorry. Is it too late?
No, it's never too late.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. Administrative report, superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. I just have a couple of items, updates on work that's coming down the pike. Chair Zen mentioned the budget, and right now I'm working with the town side to come out with just kind of an update on the general process of the budget and where we're at with what has been presented, where we're at with numbers. And one of the things I want to say, is one of the messages that what Matt Reed, the town administrator, and I have spoken about is we want all of the citizens that are interested to know as much about the budget and what it is consisted of this particular year. What are the drivers? What are the main issues? And however people feel about that, to the extent they want to, they should, vote in the referendum, whether they want to support it or not, but we want them to be informed. So we're trying to figure out creative ways to do that. I think one of the messages we want, that we're going to convey in a letter that we're working on now is that the Board of Education and the town side, the spending is really fiscally responsible and conservative. So you all know where we're at right now. The board adopted a 2.89% budget. I know that we've already found another $26,000 that will eventually come off the top. That brings us down to about 2.83%. And so that's a really, all things considered, you guys know the meat of that budget. That's a really, really fiscally responsible budget, right? I just want to give the town props. Right now, the town side is at a 3.54%. But just let me put that in the context, right? Because I think it's important. One of the priorities of the town is that they're working on trying to work on the ambulance services, right? And figuring out what the actual coverage of that's going to be and how many ambulances they're going to have and everything. So they have in that budget, one of the big requests is 3 ambulance-related positions. And so the town's going to have to decide, and the Board of Finance is going to have to decide, if they want to invest in that. But if you take those 3 positions out, that are new positions, they're at a 2.07% increase. So, one of the messages we want to send to the town is that the town and the Board of Ed have really done their due diligence at this early stages of the budget process to keep spending at a minimum and continue programs and services at a high level for the town, for the school district. And so I think that's something to be proud of, and the Board of Finance has to deliberate on, especially on that town side, and decide what cuts, if any, they want to make, and then send it to referendum. And just the other thing that we were talking about mentioning is one of the big drivers of this year's budget is really the motor vehicle, and we're gonna be able to explain this in greater detail, but just to whet your appetite is the new motor vehicle tax law that has gone into effect October 1st, 2024. And what the citizens need to understand is that essentially this is a tax that shifts the burden from renters to property owners in town in terms of the tax revenue side. So in short, what you have is people will pay less on their car taxes, right? So renters who own a car, who live in town, will pay less on their car taxes based on how they're assessing it now. And, you know, all things considered equally, if you have whatever car you have, if you're a property owner, you'll be paying less. However, what that loss of revenue has done, because the town, the municipality is contingent upon, if you spend more, you have to have revenue increase to offset the cost. So because there's less revenue now that the car tax creates, there's a hole in the budget that has to be filled, right? And so right now, you know, it was upwards up to $900,000. The legislature saw that across all 169 districts, and they basically gave districts the option of changing what percentage that's going to be. And so the Board of Selectmen voted that through, and so it'll be less in the $300,000 to $200,000 range. But it's an impact on the budget. So what taxpayers need to know when they're making decisions and learning about the budget is just simply they need to understand that part of the possible tax increase is going to be driven by this motor vehicle tax that renters are getting a break on, property tax are getting a break on. However, the revenue has to be made up somewhere. And so the property tax owners with a mill rate increase will see that savings on their cars will be washed out. And it will actually be more of an increase on their property taxes. And so people can have different opinions on that, and people can understand, you know, how that works out. But it's important that the citizens understand that that's a major driver of the budget. So that's one of the things that Matt Reed and I are working on. We want to make sure that everyone's clear on what are the drivers of the budget. The spending is really good. It's the revenue side which is going to create some of the challenges for the Board of Finance and for the town. So that's just something I want to kind of like give a little bit of a preview on. We've got the letter halfway done. We're working on it, and we'll see if it comes out this week or next week. But that's going to be one thing that will go to the town and the school district.
I do have a quick question. So
Sure.
Is there something that we can do when like we do with snow days? Could Chair Zen possibly do a communication to all the families saying, this is an important meeting, get yourself educated prior to voting for the budget, or something similar to that, so that we can make, I know we do everything in our power to make everybody aware, but we all know what voter turnout looks like and everything else like that. So I don't think it would hurt us to have more communication, and no offense to you, but I think it would be great coming from Chair Zed. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
When you and Matt chat, that it might be a good idea, again, just for education purposes. Let's send out a reminder. If you can make, you know, the meeting at such and such a day.
Well, there's 2 meetings coming up one at the library and one, maybe we could send something out from me saying, reminder,
Yep.
you know.
We were going to include some of the process in this letter also.
In the letter.
But we can do both. It's good to get both.
Just
right?
just a reminder,
Yes.
these 2 dates are coming up where you can learn more about. There's
Yeah.
one at the senior center and one at the library.
Right.
So.
And I'll be presenting, and so won't the town side. So it'll be a partnership of what we've done.
I
So-
don't think you can have too much communication.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Just to knowledge.
Scott, with this manipulation that's kind of gone on with the money, it just occurs to me how this next generation is the message that we're sending to our students and the next generation, that they're not going to have the dream of owning a home and being able to do that if they're shifting it all to landowners. The tax like that. Do you see what I'm saying? It seems to me like, oh, you're getting a break here, but it's only because they're trying to shift what is ultimately we're going to be able to afford for the younger folks. You know, I don't know, but that's how you kind of, when you
Yeah.
presented it, sounded to me.
Yeah.
And are we able to, you know, we have to make sure this would be at the high school level, that we're continuing to educate our young people on this stuff, because that's what it seems to me like, a manipulation.
Yeah. As a superintendent, you know, what my job is with the administration at the town is just, we want people to be informed as to what the finances are, right? And so that's educating them on this particular tax issue. My personal opinion on tax reform will be my personal opinion on what's the best way to go about tax reform. So my remarks were really just about, we want people to understand any increases in the budget are not solely driven by just spending. Our spending's really tight. We want to make sure, because we've worked really hard at that as a Board of Ed, to spend fiscally responsibly, and so is in the town. And so a lot of the conversation is going to be about what do we do about this revenue loss and what does that mean, and educating the populace at least on why it looks like this way, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but I think we have to make sure that we're not just delivering, oh, this is costing more, but really understanding why and what we're placing our importance on, and how we're distributing the wealth.
Right. And that would be for board members to have their opinions on and talk about.
I mean, I'm not weighing in an opinion, I'm just saying that we need to make sure that we're understanding what's going on so we can make good decisions, whether it's from the board or in our own personal lives.
Right.
I think you're saying the same thing.
Yes.
Miriam.
Well, I want to tell you all that at the last Board of Finance meeting, both Dan Coyne and Liz Nord said that they thought the Board of Education had done an outstanding job of doing the budget, so that's on record publicly. And Scott, I'd like you to include, the assessor was there, explaining how they're going to change the way they evaluate your car. So probably going to be higher. They're using your MSRP as opposed to the Kelly Book price, and they've got a sliding scale that goes down. And I think you should include that. My feeling was your comments now suggested that it was all going to be taken by the homeowner. And I hope when we put that out, that we explain that no taxes are likely to go up. Most of us, because our car is 1 year older, think that, well, next year we'll pay fewer taxes next July than I paid this July. And that is not likely because they're using the MSRP.
That's not my understanding. So there's already the way that they are assessing the cars, motor vehicles, for all residents in Ellington. There is a loss of revenue because people are paying less on their car taxes, unless they had a used car and they went and bought a new car and it's like they upgraded, those people would pay more. But if you have, you know, the 2016 Camry and you still have the 2016 Camry, the way they're assessing that vehicle, you will pay less, whether you're a property owner or a renter. The difference is, my point was, the renter doesn't pay property taxes because they rent, say, Autumn Chase. So the renter, in terms of the taxes that they give to the town, assuming they have the same car and is a year older, they will pay less in taxes in that regard. However, the loss of revenue, based on how all the cars are being assessed, there's a hole. So at one point it was 800 to 900,000. And then now it's more in the 200 to 300,000 range. I'm getting firm numbers on that. That has to be made up in this budget process when they're determining what mill rate to assess and all of that. And what is going to happen is there will more than likely be a mill rate increase in large part because of the loss of revenue of the car tax. And so the people that are going to have to pay that are going to be the property owners that get assessed based on the mill rate increase. So it's a shift of tax burden from renters to property owners at municipalities throughout the entire state of Connecticut. Those are the facts of it. And people can decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing and have their own opinion on it, right? Like, that's fine. Tax reform is messy. People can have all sorts of beliefs on how taxes should be levied and to whom and what percentages. That's fine. But the story of this budget, in large part, is that shifting. Because every municipality has to deal with it. And it was such a huge issue that the legislature realized they had to adjust it, the percentage, because so many towns across the state were freaking out about their budget holes. And so they had special legislation and passed a special law saying you could change it and put it off a year. So instead of Ellington trying to make up $800,000 to $900,000, Ellington now is going to be making up $200,000 to $300,000 or somewhere in that range. That was an option. You didn't have to do that as a town, but our town decided to do it. I think it was a good decision by the Board of Selectmen to do that. So that's just one of the stories of the budget. There's other stories of the budget, but that's a major one that we want to make sure people understand so they can decide what that means to them.
And all I'm saying to you is I hope that when you do the presentations, you're clear because people know that there was a special session. My understanding is different than yours, and so I'm asking with Matt, could you please clarify that and give people a clear picture of what, because for some people, it will mean an increase in their property taxes, and it might mean an increase in their car taxes. So I'm just asking if you would clarify that when you do your presentation.
Sure, and mostly that will be the town presenting on that, but we're working together to try to show partnership, and so we'll see how Matt and Tiffany kind of want to frame things out. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, the last thing, and this is just an update on a little bit of process and a little bit of content, but just to whet your appetite. So we're going to have an operations committee, as Miriam knows, where Whitson's is going to come in. And we're going to look at a few different things. We're going to look at, re-looking at some of the local things that we've done with our food service that have been really positive within a lot of constraints. So Whitson's has worked really hard, and we've done a lot of things that are helpful. They're not at the scale that we want, but we're going to be able to share some of those things and make sure that, and they do come out on their monthly letter that they send out on the different things that they're offering, but we want to kind of encapsulate it and talk about it a little bit at the operations committee. The other thing that we're trying to work on as a follow-up to our letter to our federal representatives is there's been a lot going on in the country. One of the really positive things I thought, if you remember, I mentioned Representative Rosa DeLaura. She did something good, December, January, where she got the red dye 7 removed. That will, it's going to take place in 2027, but that was something that she had the federal regulators change, and that was a good, very positive thing. West Virginia just did something similar. They actually passed legislation at the state level. The governor just signed it on Monday to not only remove the red dye 7 that Rosa had done, another 6 dyes that were also now are going to be, for next school year, they're removed from the lunches, cannot have them in the lunches in West Virginia. And then in any food at all in West Virginia, it's about 2028 when they'll be able to process all of that out. So there's a lot of examples around the country of, and that are really bipartisan, Democrats and Republicans saying we've got to try to work together in different ways to clean our food as best as possible, especially for our children. So right now I'm working on with Whitson's, and we're trying to look at some different regulations that we could very specifically suggest to our federal reps to say, if you could work on this, this would be helpful. And so we're still in that process. We're going to bring that to the operations committee. I can tell you one of the things we're kicking around is really like the entitlement funds, meaning when you get reimbursed and this is just a general concept, we'll go more in detail later, so it's not for big discussion right now. But when we get reimbursed by the federal government for the food we purchase and our lunches that we serve through the program, right, through the National School Lunch Program, there's really, really tight restrictions in terms of regulations on how that money can be spent. And, Whitson's has said, well, Scott, if we could spend it in this way or this way, have more flexibility with it, we could do, instead of like offering, remember we did the salmon thing, fresh caught salmon within 24 hours, and we did it once. If we had more flexibility with how we could use that money, we could offer it maybe once a month. And so what we're looking to try to do is give some really tangible regulations that could be adjusted, that maybe our federal reps could lean on to say, hey, if you did these 3 things, that'd be great. What I'm going to be doing is reaching out and placing a phone call, asking for meetings with each of them, working with Whitson to come up with some specific things, writing a follow-up letter to them saying, here's some things we're doing. If you could work on this, that'd be great, and see what kind of response we get. I think we just need to keep chipping away at these things. And so it's going to take some time, and I think, the country will keep working on it, and we can be a small little part of just trying to raise awareness on it.
And at the same time, we're going to continue to be looking at ways to do things locally,
Yes,
right?
right.
Purchasing local food items, local, using local farms in so much as our restrictions or not, or whatever our policies are to make that happen.
Right.
Right.
Dr. Williams?
Yeah. Have we looked into seeking assistance from our state rep, Jamie Foster, who is really an expert in this area, to help us with this?
I've spoken to her about it.
Do you think there is room for her to play an active role
Possibly.
in helping us? Okay.
I want to give a shout out to the high school cafeteria. They have I hear is most excellent, their nachos, and they have all these fresh toppings. So it doesn't matter whether you eat meat, you don't eat meat. Now you can choose guacamole, beans, all this stuff. And so I hear it's very delicious, and was very excited to hear some positive feedback from our school lunches. So I just don't want, we're always down on it, and I know a lot of times I'm critical of it, but I think we are doing some good things. Yeah. We just want to do more of those good things too.
Right.
So
it's one of those things. It's like local and state and federal reform. It's going to take time, but it has to be done at all the different levels to get as best as we can, and we'll do what we can on all 3 levels.
I was surprised that they served guacamole as a topping, which I know is super expensive, but that's great that the kids have this opportunity during the school day to get things like that. So right. We are working on it. It's just not where we want. We want it to be the best. Right.
And so that concludes my report, and we'll keep working on it.
Great. Thank you. Director's report, monthly finance report. Alicia.
So I just wanted to start by saying at the Finance Committee meeting, we really just covered the financials, and we looked over the year over year, and we talked about where the budget was at, which is all things that were discussed tonight. When you look at the budget of $46,715,160, including all encumbrances, pre-encumbrances, accounts payable, and payroll, as of March 21st, we have a balance of $1,080,972. I did want to go over the different lines where you would see overages within that object summary, and this is your non-certified salaries. As the year goes on, we still look at encumbrances, but this is too where we're going to start to see that offset where we have people that are out, and it's also covered by substitutes comes in, so you see one line go over and one line go under. When I looked at salaries as a whole today, we're still currently under budget, we're projected to be under budget by about $100,000. And this includes what you see in that 340 other professional services. That is over because of the agency paras we've been bringing in. And so I took that into that salary calculation I just gave you to give a full picture of what that looks like. I also looked at retirement again today. As of right now, nothing's been moved out to where the grants go, but I did the year-to-date, and I did a quick projection today of where I think we're gonna end on the end of the year without anything being moved out, and it's at about 960. So that still is a little bit over budget, but again, that's without anything being moved out to any grant lines or any other funds. Unemployment is looking the same. That is just the claim that we have in there. We have that encumbered, and that should not change. And then 310, the official administrative services. This was renewal cost and implementation for a school use system. You see rentals are over. This is an overage in system-wide, just printing and copying throughout the district. This is something we typically see, and we've started to have conversations on what that looks like and how we continue to work on that. And then tuition, you're gonna see a big decrease in what that is over in that line. We did receive our first excess cost payment, but not our second yet. So you'll continue to see this go over until that second payment comes in, but we have received that first payment. That's it.
Well, you just answered all my questions. Bing, bang, boom.
Awesome.
Anybody else have any questions? I'm writing.
That's what I strive for.
Well, thank you. That was very
You're welcome.
efficient. Thank you. Board liaison reports. Gary, what do you have for us? Oh, jeez, I skipped right over you, Beck. Sorry. Back up, Gary. You got a minute. So sorry, honey.
That's okay. So I'm going to start with boys basketball. As I'm guessing everybody knows, the boys basketball team are state champions. And I got senior captain Lucas Layden to comment, we had tough and competitive practices, and the coaching staff and teammates did a good job building each other up. For indoor track and field, athletes Jenna Luoma, Dylan Calcetta, and Dominic Attardo competed in nationals in the last couple of weeks, so that wrapped up the indoor season. For boys and girls lacrosse and boys baseball and girls softball and tennis and track, I just lumped them all together here. The seasons are just starting for all of these teams, so I'll have more to come next month as they're progressing, but I know that a lot of kids are excited. For Art Club and the National Art Honor Society, they're working on their annual Hall Memorial Library Art Showcase, which features works from students across many different mediums at the high school. The opening reception and induction ceremony will take place on Thursday, April 10th. The National Honor Society is having its annual induction ceremony tomorrow in the auditorium at 5:30 p.m., welcoming incoming members into the Honor Society, and they're also volunteering at the middle school dance for their Night in Hollywood dance on April 4th. OKP is working on a show called Game of Tiaras, which I've heard is about princesses and seems really interesting, so more to come on that in the future as well. Student Council is working on a proposition for May Day, a field day of sorts for the high school, which is in the works under the May Day committee. They have also worked on putting together a dodgeball tournament as well as rewriting the bylaws for the council. The Green Earth Club is in the swing of spring, making preparations for Earth Day and working on the greenhouse. The Tri-Am Music Honor Society are meeting to discuss more events to help out with in the coming months, so I'll have more on that in the future. The Kindness Club, which is a new club, has been making their mark with a bulletin board in the cafeteria and painting kindness rocks and putting them throughout the school. And the SAT is tomorrow for juniors, so I wish them the best of luck. That's all.
Great, thank you. Gary, what do you have for us?
Okay. The Windermere project Phase 2 is I guess started, and demo is started on the area C and E, and that demo is being done inside right now, and then they're going to do a complete demo of the last two wings there during the break, I believe. Landscaping is being done outside as well. They're working on the HVAC, the heating system and cooling system. They're testing that with the new units that they put up on the ceiling, on the up on the top of the building, the roof. completion of floors in the new addition is being done, and they're putting in the new, I guess, the lighting in the corridors. There's a change in the outdoor classroom equipment, so I think they're changing what we had originally wanted to something else, so that's going to be a change. And they're going to demo the roof of the old addition as well during the break. And the moving of the classes into the new wing was a complete success, and the teachers are pretty happy with the you know, the changes and everything, and they're loving their new classrooms.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Marcia?
Yes. 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege of going to center school and take part in their Read Across America. And I read in 2 of the 5th grade classrooms. And I have a granddaughter in each one, so that was very special. The book I read that they had picked out for me was A Couch Potato, which perfectly segued into our Unplugged initiative, and we had lots of good discussion. And Miriam, you're gonna like this story. There's a little boy in the front seat, in the front row, and he raised his hand and he said, "Do you know Miriam?" Because they introduced me as a Board of Education member. So, and I said, "And are you Owen?" He goes, "Yes." So it was just cute. He made that connection with the Board of Ed.
Owen was my dog walker.
yeah.
Owen Gaudier was my dog walker last year when I couldn't take the dog out.
that. That's awesome.
And he was wonderful.
Yeah, it was cute. And also, March 22nd, there was a honor roll event for all the grades 5 and 6. April 2nd, they're having an author visit their school. April 4th, it's a 5th, 6th grade district dance. April 14th through 18th, I'm sure we all know that, is the spring break. May 1st, I can't believe we're talking May already, but that's a fundraiser. And April 25th is a bingo. So they have a lot of things going on. Again, talking about May, grades 4 through 6, there's a chorus concert, and the 15th is a family game night. And that about wraps it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Angie, what do you have for us?
Nothing, not much more than Rebecca. She does an excellent job getting to everyone. I did talk to Miss Rushage though, and she was like, "I am gearing up for graduation already," so plans are underway. The Safe Grad auction has 2 sections that will be able to be bid on. That's always an exciting time. People like to have the extra seats. Again, with a spring break coming up, that's exciting. I think people are glad to see the sunshine longer and everything there. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our band and chorus are going to Virginia Beach for, they go right before the spring break, so a lot of the kids will be down there really, down in Virginia Beach, enjoying the sun.
For the high school?
Yeah, for the high school, yeah. Well, I was just tailgating on Angie.
And I'll tell you, Marcia, I read for the students too in center school, and they're just so cute. We were talking about leprechauns and how tricky they are and sneaky and traps, and it was quite entertaining.
That's awesome. Jen, what do you have for us?
I don't have a full report. I plan on getting up to see how Mr. Mitchell is settling in up at Bases and checking out the store. So next month I'll have a full report after I've been there to visit.
Well, I can report from the central office. We get to see Dr. Laporte more often, so it's very nice.
Excellent. Sorry, was that everything?
That's
Okay.
it.
The next shared services meeting does not take place until April 10th, which I did want to correct myself. The first budget deliberations is April 10th, and that is at 6 p.m. at the town hall, and then the second one will be on the 15th at 6 p.m. And the town budget meeting, which takes place here in the auditorium, is May 13th at 7 p.m. for all those interested. Carrie, what do you have for us?
I have Steve's report from the middle school. So there is a parent book club. This goes great with our Unplugged initiative. The Ellington Middle School Counseling Department will be offering a book club for any interested Ellington Public School parent or guardian this spring. The book's called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Hatt. It's considered to be a must-read for parents and educators, and it explores how a phone-based childhood is rewiring our kids' brains for mental illness. Anyone that wants to be part of that, and that's open to everyone, they can contact the Ellington Middle School. They have a National Unplugged Day was March 7th. They planned a day without technology. There were no cell phones or devices allowed during lunch. And the teachers planned activities that did not involve technology. 8th grade students are picking their classes for the 9th grade high school. And the last thing that is notable for the middle school was retired police officer Scott Driscoll spoke to the students about internet safety on March 24th. And that's your Ellington Middle School update.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Lenora?
Good evening. Greetings from Windermere School. The students are very, very excited as their new playground is being constructed. It's going to have new slides, swings, and a zip line. I don't know how that's gonna, that's what they say.
Oh, yes, but you know what? It's very similar to the one they currently have, because, yes, all of us were like, whoa, wait, no. And they said, no, it's kind of similar to the one they have currently.
So not an accident waiting to
No,
happen.
no. Well, it still could be, but, you know, it's going to be
I think the
low-key.
nurse's nightmare is recess most days.
Right?
Also, they just finished up their huge spring book fair, and the parent-teacher organization did an excellent job in pulling that off. And in May, they are in the beginning phases of planning the STEAM Day, which is going to be May 4th. Which celebrates the birthday of a student who passed, Pranit's birthday. And the WPTO is coordinating that as well. There'll be STEAM assemblies and presentations for all students.
Thank you. Miriam, what do you have for us?
Well, like Marsha and Angie, I went to read at Crystal Lake School. I was in a first grade classroom, and of course I read the book that was one of my most favorite books for young children, that requires tangrams, which are a 7-piece puzzle, and this story is called Grandfather Tang's Story. And we make all of these animals that are talked about. And I have to laugh because at one point we needed some more copies, and Mrs. Morgan left, and I thought, oh dear God, I have 20 plus first graders with a whole pile of materials. I went home, it was wonderful, but I went home and took a nap. It was exhausting. So, I presented Elise with the book I'd like to read next year called The Librarian Who Measured the World, and it's about Aristophanes and how he measured the world when he was the librarian in Alexandria. And I said, I'm away from materials and I'm getting too old, so I'm giving them the book I'd like to read for next year to 5th and 6th graders where I can just sit still. But it was fun, and they had their book fair. So they are planning a Spring Earth Day extravaganza on Saturday, April 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. They're going to have an egg hunt, pictures with the Easter Bunny face painting, and it sounds like great fun. On April 30th, their chorus will be singing at the Yard Goats game, and then they were advertising the town 5th and 6th grade dance, A Night in Hollywood, which is Friday, April 4th. That's next week, next Friday. So I don't know where that's taking place, but it's for all town 5th and 6th graders. It sounds like fun. So that's Crystal Lake. And then I went to Crack last week, and Jen, I sent you the email. Basically, the meeting was just talking about how we need to support with our legislators the cap on magnet schools, because it's a benefit for the RESCs and for each of the sending schools that we will be saving money. So that was basically all we talked about, was the legislative program, and when he sent me that, I had told you I would forward it to
No, I
you.
appreciate you sending that forward
All
to
right,
me.
thank you, that's it.
Thank you.
Can I add to mine, just because we talked about the high school? The new schedule is coming out next week, so I've heard a little bit of rumblings at my house and otherwise, and so it'll be interesting feedback. First of all, my daughter's like, I can hardly sit now for a half hour. I'm like, you'll be just fine. So
Well, yeah.
it'll be interesting lengthwise.
And
Yeah.
short lunches, I've heard.
It's
Okay.
not shorter. It's the
There's only
same,
two.
it's the same amount of time. Earlier,
10:30.
and I've heard concerns about how when we go from 3 waves to 2, that's a lot more kids in the CAF than there were before. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear feedback after next week, so agreed. Time will tell. Moving on to action items. Action item A.
I move that upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, the Board of Education hold a second read to approve revisions to Policy 2010, retention of electronic records.
Second.
Seconded by Marcia. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously. Action item B.
Move that upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, the Board of Education hold a second read to approve revisions to Policy 5850, confidentiality and access to records.
Second.
Seconded by Jen. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Action item C.
Move that upon recommendation of the Policy Committee, the Board of Education hold a second read to approve revisions to Policy Number 5860, student use of district computer devices.
Second.
Seconded by Angie. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Action item D.
Move that upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, the Board of Education hold a second read to approve revisions to Policy Number 5960, use of private technology devices by students.
Second.
Seconded by Marcia. Any further discussion? Yes, Miriam.
On page, I think it's 49, I have a question about what we removed for search, removed reasonable grounds for search, to search students, and replaces it with in accordance with the board policy for search and seizure. My question is, what is the board policy for search and seizure, and where is it found?
It's in the student section.
In the student section,
Yes.
okay.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Action item E.
Move that upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, the Board of Education hold a second read to approve revisions to Policy 6147, weighted grading and calculation of GPA.
Second.
Seconded by Jen. The only clarifying question I had on that is, it says that it says for all other purposes, it'll be a weighted grade. But for the purpose of the state, they don't do a weighted grade. It's calculated, Is that correct, Oliver? Like, do we, so when our students see it for our purposes, I'm assuming it's weighted because it says the college prep is 1, that, it's 1.2 for honors, it's 1.1, and then 1.2 for AP and ECE.
Correct.
Okay.
The state just has a specific formula for the purpose of the automatic acceptance to certain colleges.
For the
in
automatic,
state.
right,
So
for the
that
state.
there's one specific program, it gets calculated that way, and ours remains as it's been.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Could I ask a question?
Certainly.
Oliver, before you sit down, could you explain the removal of class percentile? I can't remember. I know we had some discussions about it. Is it needed for certain groups of students for college acceptance? And will it still be done if it's been removed from the policy?
So it is still done. It's done on a different schedule based on getting through to the third quarter of the year. So that rank is still there for the purposes of the top 10 scholars and the valedictorian and salutatorian, and then students are shown a bar graph with where their GPA would fall. It's just not calculated to the point of you're student 127 instead of student 126. So that's no longer provided in the earlier grades.
But the fact that the word percentile is taken out, we still are going to be doing something for those top 10 students, is that?
That's correct.
All right.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? Oops, sorry.
On this policy, I am gonna vote for the policy. However, in previous meetings, I philosophically don't agree for reasons that we've already gone over before. But in terms of the way that the policy is written, and that it's not objectionable, it's just, I don't think that we should be doing this as a school district, but understand that this is what they're doing widespread, and we're kind of just following everybody else. But I don't think that this is the right thing for our students, and I just don't think it sets you up in life. I think at high school you can handle where you rank in your class, so
Yeah.
for whatever that's worth. Thank you.
Yep, I hear you.
Any other comments, questions? We had motion read by Angie, seconded by Jen. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Action item F.
Move that upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, the Board of Education hold a first read to approve revisions to policy number 5420, non-resident attendance.
Second?
Seconded by Angie. For the discussion portion, I would like to say that we spoke about this policy in Policy Committee, and it was determined that we are looking for comps for additional information from area schools that offer tuition at a discounted rate for staff members. So more information will be coming to us. We will be adding an April policy meeting to review that information before the board meeting in April, where there would be a second read. Any questions or comments beyond? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Before we move on to correspondence, I did want to, and I should have done this earlier, Tracy, thank you so much for the cute bags that you did for, we know it wasn't Scott, so thank you. Thank you, you always do a nice job, and it's much appreciated. Correspondence, I did not have any this month. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Sorry, that was Lenora. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, we are adjourned.